Hi guys, Stefan here from Overdrive Music, and today I'm going to teach you how to mix melodic rap vocals. We're going to go from this.
I don't know why you be mad for, just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, got a mad story, gonna splash
To this.
flash for. I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a what you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for, just trying to run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, a mad story, gonna splash for.
The main things we'll cover today are Autotune, EQ, compression, and a little bit of tape saturation. Let's get into it. The artist is a rapper called Saint Laurent. The song is called Mad For. The link is in the description below. First of all, let's play the track and see what key we're in. So just like the last video, pull out your keyboard.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for? I don't know why you be.
So we're in D minor. So this is the track here. We've got 3 layers of vocals. So Laurent recorded 3 individual parts at home, and we've just separated them on 3 different tracks because some of them do overlap. These 3 tracks here are going to the main bus over here, and this is where we're going to put our Autotune effect. It doesn't need much Autotune, but let's make it sound perfect. The first step, bring up Waves Autotune and just play the track.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for, just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, got a mad story, gonna splash for. I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store.
So Autotune has just tracked our vocal pitch. What we'll do is just go through each individual note and just see if it's in pitch.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for.
So the Y is a little bit sharp. Let's just tune that down. The note transition we will need a little bit sharper.
I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store.
Pulling up is a little bit too sharp, so turn it down 2 semitones. You want to avoid these red lines here, so these are not in our key. And our key we've set to D natural minor.
Pulling up at the back store, I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for? I don't know why you.
So these notes here, we can pretty much just turn them all down 2 semitones.
Pulling up at the back store, I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for?
Sounding pretty good so far. Let's move on to that next part.
I don't know why you be mad
Again, these notes here, I'm just going to grab all of them and put them down 2 semitones.
for. I don't know why you be mad for, just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, got a
Mad tours, a little bit flat, so let's just tune that up.
run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, got a mad story.
So just fine tuning, that's all Autotune is.
I don't know why you be mad for, just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours, got a mad story, gonna splash for.
To make it sound a bit more modern, I add the second Autotune, is the Waves real-time tuning. And again, we'll set our key to D minor. We don't want it all the way on, because now it's going to sound like T-Pain.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up with a back.
Way too much. So just turn down the correction, turn down the speed a little bit so it's not too quick, and we'll play it.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up with a back store.
Again, it's still a bit too quick. We only want a slight fraction of this.
I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for?
Pretty happy with that at the moment, so what we'll do is just select everything, solo your vocal lead bus,
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for.
and just render this. And done. So now that we've imported our hook vocals, we can see it needs some compression. So Laurent used a Focusrite mic in his studio, and what I want to do is just take the edge off that vocal, make it sound a little bit thicker, give it a little bit of saturation, just make it sound smoother. So what I did is I sent the vocal through my 1073, cranked a little bit of gain, and then to the 1176 to tame those peaks. And you can see those peaks here. On the 1176, we want a slightly faster attack, and release we want to latch onto it a little bit more. We could aim for about 3 to 5 dB of gain reduction. And there we have it. So before and after, that's before, and this is after compression. You can see all those peaks have been squashed. So let's zoom in, see what it's done. So you can see we've got a pretty prominent attack, and then the compression kicks in. So now the vocal's more in your face. So let's play what that sounds like now. I'll play it solo. So this is before.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back.
And this is after.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back.
You can hear the compressors just smash the vocal, but it sounds nice in the actual mix.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for, I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad, what you mad for?
So now let's process the vocal in the box. So first of all, we want to cut the rumble and tame any harsh frequencies in the vocal. So let's bring up Neutron EQ. This is a dynamic EQ, so it will just tame the peaks if it gets too loud. Let's hear what Neutron's taking away from the vocal.
I'm pulling up pulling up at the back door with a bad what you mad for?
Just some of that boxy sound at 400 Hz. There's a harsh peak here at 2.5K, just because of the mic that was used. Bit of harsh resonance there. Another one at 3.5K. I feel like the 1073 has smoothed it out already, so this is not really doing much in the actual mix. It's just mainly that frequency here at 2.5K. Harsh frequency at 5K, really hurting my ears. So that's the first EQ. Second one is acting as a sidechain compressor, just focusing on this area. Pretty much acting as a de-esser. Moving on, we have the C1 again. That will control some of that low end. And you can see what it's doing here.
Know why you be mad for? Just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me a mad tour, gonna mad store, gonna splash for him.
A de-esser from Waves. It's not really doing much. I'll play the area that it's targeting. It's not really moving too much because the compressor's already tamed some of those S's. Moving on, we've got the Kotelnikov from TDR. Again, free download, so download this now. The reason why we're using this is because we wanted a slightly faster attack. We don't want to affect anything below 200 Hz, so we've got a high pass filter. So everything above 200 Hz will be affected by the compressor. We're going 2:1 ratio as opposed to 4:1 on the 1176. The dry to wet is set to almost dry, and let's play what that's doing.
Backstore with a bad where you mad.
So we're really not doing much. We're only getting about 1 dB of compression. I just wanted to focus on these little sharp peaks here.
Up at the back store, I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad where you mad for? I don't know why you
If we press this delta button, we can listen to what the compressor's doing.
at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for?
So it's just those very loud peaks that it's latching onto. Next up, we've got another 1176 compressor from Waves. This is the blue face, so it brings that mid-range forward. The reason why we're using this is because we've got the all buttons in mode, so it's really compressing hard. We could have done it on the outboard gear here, but I wanted more control in the software. Again, this will just latch on to those very loud peaks.
I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad where you mad for?
Again, medium attack, and the release is not as slow as before. Next up, we have a DVX 165 emulation. That's from DLM Audio, free download. Compression set to 50/50. We're only getting about 1 dB of compression. Medium attack, medium release. And let's play what that's doing.
I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store.
Now the vocals sounding very even. I wanted a little bit more character from the vocals, so the next process is adding a bit of tape saturation. For that, we've used iZotope vintage tape. I wanted a little bit of that top end shine on the vocal. So all I've got is a high emphasis set to 0.7. It's not doing much, but on a small speaker like a phone speaker, that's really going to pop out. It's a very subtle difference, but all these little 1–2% add up.
I wanna see me on mad tours. Got a mad story, gonna splash for him. I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on.
To me, the vocals just pop out a little bit more. Next up, we have a PuicTec Emulation from Waves, boosting 100 Hz, boosting a little bit at 8K, turning down the gain because we've made some boosts. So this is with it.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours. Got a mad.
So it's just bringing that mid-range forward and increasing a little bit of that chest voice. Next up, the SSL E-Channel from Waves. What I'm doing here, boosting about 5K. This is what that sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for? I don't.
Boosting slightly. Around about 300 Hz, we're going to cut as well. That's a very boxy character. I'll boost it now to show you what we're cutting.
Yeah, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for?
We've got a high pass just in case. That's 20 Hz because tape often adds some rumble. So this will just make sure that we're cutting some of that rumble. We don't want anything to interfere with our bass and our kick drum. We've got another de-esser from Waves.
Mad for, just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours. Got a mad.
We're getting average about 3 dB of gain reduction. Sometimes it will hit 6 dB of gain reduction. Sounds nice and natural. If we overdo it, sounds like he doesn't have a tongue. So let's just do that now.
Mad for, I'm pulling up with a back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad what you mad for?
So next up we have another Neutron, just cutting a bit of that boxy character, 400 Hz. Now let's talk about sends, and we'll bring in the ad-libs as well. So now what we've got, lead vocal done, that's just the beat. These are our ad-libs, so they've gone through the same chain as all of this, and I've just bounced them to audio. Laurent wanted a very dry track. He didn't want a lot of reverb, a lot of delay, all this echo bouncing around everywhere. He wanted it nice and simple so we can really focus on the vocal itself. Let's play the track now with raw ad-libs, no effect at this stage.
Splash for, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad. What you mad for?
First step, let's add some reverb, make it sound a bit bigger. The reverb we chose to use was our reverb from Waves. This is what that sounds like. It's a medium room. This is going to be very low in the mix, so we're hardly going to hear it. But what we've done, EQ'd that top end out and the bottom end. Stereo widener plugin from Waves, S1. We've set up a sidechain, so when the vocal's playing, the reverb ducks, so it's not interfering with the vocal. And then when the vocal stops, the reverb will kick in. It's not doing too much, but you can see what it's doing here. So in the mix,
what you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for.
Way too loud, so let's just turn it down.
I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a.
Next up, Waves ADT. I wanted the vocals a little bit wider, and this is what that sounds like in solo. Let's crank it up.
What you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a back shore.
Sounds a little bit robotic, but when you add it very subtle in the mix and put it very wide, it sounds good. What I've done there, I've just cut all the S's out.
Flash form. I don't know why you be mad for.
That's going to the ADT, and then that is going to the equalizer, so just cutting all the low end, cutting all the top end, and cutting around about, what's that, 3K, 2K? Don't want any of that on the sides. And this is with, we're going to exaggerate it, so it's going to sound funny.
Flash form, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store.
But this is in the actual mix itself, and I'll toggle on and off.
Flash form, I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad. What you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a back shore.
So giving it a little bit of width. We've got a delay set up just for the ad-libs. So that's just a Waves H delay. So quarter note delay, cutting some of that low end, cutting some of that high end from the echo. Before it, we've got a De-esser, a free De-esser from Air Windows. And then we've just got an EQ, just a stock EQ, just cutting some of that top end, cutting some low end just in case.
What you mad for? Yeah.
Next up, we've got Ozone Exciter. That is just focusing on everything above 2K. Everything below 2K is just on mute. This is just for the ad-libs. I wanted the ad-libs to come alive a bit more, and I'll play what that sounds like in solo.
What you mad for? Yeah.
So just distorting that top end, bringing it out more. So again, if you're listening on a phone, it's going to translate better. Before this, we've got an 1176. It's completely smashing the vocal. You'll see what it's doing.
What you mad for? Yeah.
So hitting about 10 dB of gain reduction, that's just to make sure that you can hear the tube sound. It's very low in the mix, but again, it adds to the overall picture.
What you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours. Got a mad store.
That's it for the vocal processing. The last thing on the master bus we have is a free plugin from Air Windows. It's called Bus Colors 4, and what that's doing is emulating a tube console.
Story gonna splash for. I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a bad. What you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just wanna run up a.
Set to 70% wet dry. To me, it just makes the mix pop a little bit more. The very last thing we did on the actual beat, cut a little bit of the sub, just a bit too much. Cut a little bit of that boxy sound from about 400 Hertz. Because this is in dynamic mode, I wanted to boost that snare frequency and boost the hi-hat frequency a little bit. Only when the snare's playing, and only when the hi-hat's playing, that will just get boosted. So let's see what that's doing. So I'll solo these frequencies. So all we've done is set the EQ to dynamic mode, and it's going in the up direction, so it's going to move up. I wanted more movement from the track. So the guitars were a bit boxy sounding in my opinion, and I was hearing too much of that kick drum, so that's why we reduced this frequency here. Now the treble here we're also increasing at 8K. I'll play what that sounds like. Just wanted a bit of movement from that frequency as well. Again, because if we're listening on a phone, we want that to pop. So that's the track done. Let's listen to the final mix.
I wanna splash for. I don't know why you be mad for. I'm pulling up at the back store. I'm pulling up at the back store with a. What you mad for? I don't know why you be mad for. Just trying to run up a back shore. I wanna see me on mad tours. A mad store, gonna splash for him.
That's it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, hit the like button, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you on the next one.